Right, Stan. So if your name is Stanley Jackson. So
Yes.
Full names.
Stanley Jackson. I never had a middle name.
No.
Dad couldn't afford it.
And you're born, date of birth?
18th of September. 18th
Of September.
of September 1919.
1919.
Yeah.
And you're now 102.
Yes, sir.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So we're going to just go over. So you're born at Sutton Bridge.
Pardon?
Born at Sutton Bridge.
Yes, where was is Hospital Lane,
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
Wingland,
Yeah, I've heard
Sutton
of that.
Bridge,
Oh right.
near the
Yeah.
lighthouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So you're going to tell us a bit about how life was back in 1919 and through to 1939.
Terrible.
Terrible.
I lost my mother when I was 4.
Oh right.
My younger brother was 2.5, and Dad married again for the 3rd time.
Oh, I see.
And she was a cow.
Oh, was she?
Shouldn't say that, but it's true.
Oh right.
She used to take the food off our table and give it to us.
Oh
Mind
right.
you, they were much more grown up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He was mad keen to have some boys in the family. And from his first wife, he had 4
Okay.
daughters.
Yeah.
His second wife, he had me and Fred, but he had none with this.
Oh. So school. Did you go to school in Sutton Bridge or?
Yes, at church school, by the church.
Right.
Yeah.
And you would have left school at how old would you have been when you left school?
Well, I left there when I was 11.
11.
11.
To go working.
To come here.
Right.
Yeah, and because he had to sell his farm because things were very bad then.
Yeah, yeah.
And to cut long story short, when I was 13 3/4, you had to go back on September the 6th.
Right.
And my birthday was September the 18th.
Yeah.
And Mr. Alexander, who everybody in Spalding knows,
Yeah.
who was headmaster
Yeah.
at the school up the road here,
Yeah, Westlow Street.
he refused to let me go.
Oh.
But the old man took me out, and then they threatened to summons him
Oh.
for not sending me to school.
Oh, right.
And did what he did. I hadn't got no wheel, I hadn't got a bike, I hadn't got anything. I had to go on his crossbar,
Did you?
Little London, Spalding Common, Littleworth Church. That was Church Farm.
Right.
If you had to go to the other, because it stretched from there
Yeah.
right to the Welland.
Yeah.
Now, if you come the back way, it's beyond his crossbar.
That's a long way, isn't it?
It's a long way, and it's a long way.
Which
The
place
only
to get
bit
off?
of respite I've got, there's a hill there.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet you're pleased to get off that bike, weren't you?
Was I? Oh. And he never bought me a bloody bike until he packed up farming,
Yeah.
you know, on there. You know, the harvest and finishes, and went to work somebody there. What's his name? Yeah, well, I'll think of it. And left me.
Yeah.
He had to get me a bike then, otherwise I couldn't get to work.
No. Right.
Yeah.
So you were working at how old do you say you was when you was working? You was 14 when
13 3/4.
13 3/4.
Yeah.
And you're working then on the land.
Yes.
And is that when you met my uncle Hoggy
Yes.
on the farm?
Yes.
Working on the farm.
And what happened then? When we got finished, the last job I did was scaring crows with a blunderbuss.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Right.
And then I got a job here in Spalding. And do you know who it was?
No, go on.
Perhaps, well, your parents would know. Bates. You know where Aldi's is?
Yeah.
And there's a passageway you used to go to do it. Well, to the left of there was Bates the baker.
Ah. Oh, I
Yeah.
see. All right.
And he was out while about 10 o'clock at night, 10 bob a week,
Really?
all day.
Wow. Goodness me. Kids wouldn't know they've been born these days, do they?
Yeah, well, then I got a couple of jobs, Smiths, delivering papers.
Oh, right.
Of course, they supplied a bike,
Oh.
didn't they?
Yes, they would
Because
do.
you got two.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So talk to me about how you came about joining the TA then. How did that all come about to join up? before, obviously, I mean, I suppose war was...
this is how it...
Yeah.
I got a better job with, what do you call it, Lincoln Nurseries. You know, they weren't Lincoln Nurseries, and I forget the name of them. And I was there about, nearly 2 years. And Joe Wilson, who lived down Ascot Avenue, living with his granny, Canadian extraction actually, he said, do you fancy joining the order, or joining the order teach? You I want very bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said, I will. He said, it's interesting, there's a good playrooms and all that, you know. And I joined them from then.
Did you?
And I was 19 and a half.
19 and a half.
I was 19 and a half.
Yeah.
But anyway.
And did anybody mention at that point that you get a free holiday on the Isle of Man? Is that another reason to join?
Yes! Joe Wilson said to me, he said, I said, you didn't you do a camp up in Midlinks? Yes, he said, to the side of Mablethorpe somewhere.
Yeah.
But he said, this year they've hit the jackpot. I said, what's that? Now, they hadn't started to advertise, you know, for mentor job.
Yeah.
He said, the Isle of Man. What? I said, that's a foreign country.
Yeah.
I know. He said, no, bet there'll be hundreds.
Yeah.
Well, and they did.
Did they? A lot of people got wind of it and thought, well, some of that.
We'll join.
Yeah.
Well, it's all ages.
Yeah.
All ages.
I'm going to just show you the photograph that we've got here. And this is A Company, 6th Battalion, Lincolnshire Regiment.
That's right.
And if we look across here you are at the front.
That's the horrible bugger. That's George Booth.
And that's your mate next door.
Yeah.
And my uncle, we believe, is this chap.
Up there.
Oh, where is he? Oh, I can't find him now.
There's a few I could pick up.
There we are.
You forget him, don't you?
Yeah, there we are. And
you see, it wasn't just Spalding.
No, because I mean, he was what?
Aldridge.
Yeah. All the region. Yeah.
Can I tell a little funny story?
Yeah.
I won't swear.
Yeah. No, you're right. You do as you want to.
We was at the drill.
Yeah.
One night, the war hadn't opened, it had started, nowhere near. And this bloke from Holbridge, I forget his name now. Oh, he's on there. And he said, hey, have you heard of a bloke getting two stripes for managing 2 farms?
Yeah. That's how it worked. That's how promotion worked. If you own 2 farms, you get 2 stripes.
Yeah. Corporal was, I forget his bloody name now. I think I told you he was, but it was bloody funny.
The interesting thing about this photograph, though, Stan, obviously being 1939, and we think this was what, March 39, and you're all wearing World War I uniform.
That's
because
correct.
Obviously there wouldn't have been anything else, I guess.
Yes, we did.
And they've got the putties on and looking really smart, aren't they?
Yeah.
Really good, that.
You see, we never got battle dress until we're ready to go abroad, ready to go to France.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what was I going to say? So, when you joined, obviously in March, there was obviously a lot going on in the world, especially with Hitler and that sort of thing.
That's right.
So, at any point then, did you think that, this could be trouble? Instead of going to the Isle of Man, I could be going a bit further afield.
No, we never thought about it. Nobody thought about it, hand on heart, until they mentioned the Isle of Man.
Right.
And everybody said, we're going to a foreign country.
Yeah. And you certainly did. Oh, brilliant. Oh.
Oh dear.
So, from obviously when war was declared,
yes,
did you suddenly then find yourself doing a lot of, special training and that sort of thing? What sort of thing?
What they did, I was working with my old man because they'd White sold White's Harry White's.
Yeah.
Sold it to Lincoln Nurseries, and I'd just come back from leave.
Yep.
You know, and the old man said, well, you can come and have a few weeks with me at the back of Chatterton's there over there.
Uh-huh.
And I was binding tied up behind they used to go around with scythes
Yep. Yep.
for the reaper.
Yep.
And then about one day, I got, because I was in lodgings, you see, I didn't live with old man, I lived in lodgings with Mr. and Mrs. Foster down Ascot Avenue.
Yeah.
And he said, what's the matter, boy? I said, nothing. I said, we've been called up, Dad. Called up? I said, yeah. Who told you? Well, I said, a bloke come round the house at Johnson's Avenue and told us.
Right.
Because I said, one of the sergeants lived opposite me,
Yeah.
Joe Wilson.
Yeah. And
He said, make look, because I was in lodgings there, my gear was there.
Yeah.
And you're just told to get together, assemble at the station at such and such a time.
And how did you feel about that? Was you anxious?
Excited.
Was you?
Yes.
Bit of an adventure?
We didn't bloody know, how did we?
No, no, of course not.
Now, don't get any idea I'm giving you any playback. No, I didn't.
No.
I mean, I'm like one or two of them. I'd sooner have a laugh and a joke.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's true.
And
we went to the RAF station
Oh, right.
at Scampton.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
there
yeah.
we was till Christmas.
Was you?
Yeah.
So from...
And then the RAF were then compiling their own infantrymen to guard the stations.
Was they?
And
So,
we had to go and kip on the floor in some rough old houses in Grimsby.
right.
Yeah.
So from September, so from being called up to obviously departing to go to France,
Yeah.
that was quite some time, wasn't it? Because when did you leave to go to France?
April.
In April.
Yeah.
So from all that
And I was
time...
in the bag in May.
Yeah. You was, weren't you? Bless you. Oh dear. What was I going to say? So this picture, as it says on this bit of clipping here, it says that a lot of these guys, I think it said 20 of these guys in this photograph, weren't old enough to go.
That's right. I didn't know there was many as that, I'll tell you the truth. I know my mate George Booth,
Yeah.
and Whit Bell is here, he couldn't go. I knew about 5.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and this A company, they would have all stayed together on the departure to France. And once they got over there, you all stayed together and...
Yeah, we was in a camp,
Yeah.
and that's where I got my first set of yankers.
Oh, what did you do wrong?
I'll tell you. You know, you've got to remember that lads those days
Yeah.
were nothing like the lads these days, were they? I mean, they're not educated, including me. And this Corporal Groves, he was a regular in the 2nd Battalion
Yeah.
of the Lincolnshire Regiment in the Middle East somewhere.
Right.
And a few of them got drafted into the territorial unit to brighten us up a bit, you know.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
And he said, right, Jackson Bowles, Bowles, I think his name, he's there somewhere. And he said, I want 6 men to remove those stones from that wall and put them in a line halfway across that road. Of course, yes, Corporal. He was Corporal, he was.
Yeah.
We didn't know we was taking a piss, did we? I mean, this was at night, 8 or 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Pissed his notes on half a pint of, ordered half a pint of wine. It was only about £2, cheap
Yeah.
as hell. It's true.
Yeah.
And of course, half a pint of wine is a lot of wine. So
Yeah,
he
it's a
said,
lot, yeah.
you don't want to drink too much of that. He said, that's heavy stuff. I said, it tastes all right. Red wine it was.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, up rolled the military police. Big blokes, you know. Yeah. You poor men. And we'd all got stones in our hand. We had,
Caught red-handed.
yeah, cold red-handed. And he said, where's the NCO? Now, he'd seen him and dodged away.
Oh, had he? Oh,
And And they called out his name, he'd come out shaking his, as though he'd been having a wee.
Right, all right.
And they said, what's these men doing? I don't know, so I said, I just went to speak to him. He said, you were here with him half an hour ago, now come on.
Oh, so he was going to get rattled,
And
was he?
he got a reprimand. Jack Clark, he was my mate, my number 2 on the Bren.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
Jackson, Clark, and there was another bloke on it. The other 2 were strangers, you know. They were, and they took us in the van there, or truck,
Yeah.
and took us back to camp, and put us in charge of the man in charge of the lockup.
Right.
Put us in there at night. They left us there all night.
Says you're right, Kendall.
Felt right, Charlie.
What was the crossing like? The one you went from, where did you go from in England when you went across to France? Can you remember which port you went from?
Yes,
Where did you go from?
Southampton.
You went from Southampton to
Yeah, and I'll tell you the name of the ship.
Oh, right.
The Lady of Man.
Lady of Man.
Yeah,
Oh, right.
yeah.
That sounds...
It was one of these ships, excuse me, only less than 12 months ago,
Yeah.
it was taking us across from Birkenhead, or just north of there,
Yeah.
across for training, you know.
Yeah.
And we all had a great time there.
Yeah.
We hadn't seen it. Bloody dancing girls and bloody...
Oh, right.
yeah.
Oh. So, when you got to France then,
Yeah.
you was in Cherbourg? Was it Cherbourg?
No.
Or-
Yeah, no, we landed in
Landed in
Cherbourg.
Cherbourg.
Yeah.
And
And went down to Rennes.
went down
R-E
to
double
Rennes.
N-E-S.
Ah, yeah. Yeah. And how long did you stay there for?
Until we were ready to go up, it was only about 4 nights, 3 weeks.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it's April when we went out. The, bloody,
yeah.
the attack started in May.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they said, right. And then not one had a round of ammunition.
No.
No.
How did you come to be picked as a Bren gun man then? How did that come about? How did you...
With what? With the bread?
Yeah, how did you get chosen?
Oh, yeah.
How did
Well,
you get chosen for that?
while we were here, Joe Wilson, he said, do you know, I fancy you with that brain gun text.
Oh,
He said, look, he said, I'll give you a few tips about it. He said, you will then become the brain gunner for 9 platoon. See, there's 3 platoons to a company.
yeah.
Yeah, right. Anyway, he told me what to do, and I just give it a flick that. Ready, Sergeant? Right, Jackson. And you got a tenner a day more.
Did you?
Yeah, £2 a day was the normal pay.
Right.
If you were proficient in any particular job, like a
Yeah.
sharpshooter
Yeah.
or a bloke who could handle a brick, you got another 6pence.
Come in handy.
Oh, yeah.
But not where you were going.
Hey?
I say come in handy, but not
Yeah,
where you ended
yeah,
up.
it's a funny thing. Yeah, this is more domestic than
Yeah.
we came home on leave. We came home on leave in the January, and then they stopped us going. I don't know, something went wrong.
Right.
And we were asked if we would want to make an allotment to our mothers or fathers or
Okay.
whatever.
Yeah.
Well, then he got me dad to see. I
Yeah.
said, yeah, put my name down, Sarge, please. Yeah, who do you want it to? I said, my dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Half my pay, not the proficiency pay. Yeah,
Yeah.
£2 a day, and he got a shilling a day.
Really?
Yeah, and it was paid into a bank account. He did, and he said, well, I couldn't afford it, boy. He said, I'll put a few bob to it.
Right.
Oh, I said, well, you need to do that. And I said, I don't know how long I'm going to be there. Well, he said, no, you don't. He said, but take care of yourself. I said, right, Dad.
Yeah. So you didn't give it a thought, I suppose, how long you...
No!
Did you still...
I was thinking you're going to do 5 years and then...
No.
Oh,
So when
this
you
is why I laugh so much.
Yeah.
And I often think about those days, you know, okay, I was not the bravest of the brave, or, you know, who would do all sorts of stupid things I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
And a lot like behaviour.
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, and this 7 bob a day, do you know what? When I got back home, I mean, 7 bob a week, that's 52 weeks in a year, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's 260 weeks, isn't it?
Yeah.
Few bob, isn't it?
It's not
I know, I had about a couple £100.
Yeah. Rich
I
man.
didn't ask him when I come home.
No.
I said, oh, I'm waiting for you, Dad.
Yeah.
He said, well, I know where your money, but I didn't take your money.
Yeah.
He said, I'll put a few bob in, but not as much as I'd like. We had a bad year or two, you know, during
Yeah,
the war and
yeah.
all that.
So when you went from Reams, was it?
Where?
When you went from Reams or
Rain.
to Rain, when you went from Rain across there to
Oh, yeah, went to Lille.
you went to Lille.
Northeast to
Train?
Lille, on the border.
Yeah.
The Germans broke through. Well, they had to, because the whole bloody Belgian army surrendered.
Right.
And there we were.
You went across on the train. Did you go on the 40 and 8s? Was it?
On the train, yeah.
Yeah, trained all the way across.
Yeah,
And when you got to Lille,
yeah.
was you pushed forward to sort of
No,
meet them?
no,
or
they
you-
didn't, because they was already
They
there.
was already there, and you.
And all they
troops were
said,
coming
right,
back and,
back turn, retreat.
right.
Nobody knew where we was going, but eventually,
So the whole of the company then would have been together still at that
yes,
point,
yes,
not separated.
yes, that's right. And then they
on
got
the
all
defensive.
mixed up
Right.
with the, I think there was a platoon or a couple of platoons of York and Lancs, and there was, most of them were, what do they call them? Coilies. King's Own Yorkshire Light Infantry.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And then, you know, and they had a Bren gunner like I was.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, Lincoln's to the left. Over there, we're sending men down to get these 5th columnists, they were.
Right.
They were 5th columnists.
Mm-hmm.
And they got them out, you know. But they didn't kill them, you know, they got them out the top.
Mm-hmm.
And are there going to be shots? I said, this bloke. Are there going to be shots? And he looked at him. I mean, look, whatever soldiers are there, they're
Yeah.
not bloody murderers, are they?
No. No.
And that was the end of that.
Right.
And, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, we was in this, I remember being in this hot. Oh Christ, I could just keep here nice and lovely, a big old house and, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
The next morning, up to stop the buggers getting across the Limassol Canal.
Right.
They was already across.
You've already done it. So, how did you become to be left as a rear guard then with your Bren? How did that all come about?
You're not gonna. Oh, no, I won't say that. That's a stupid thing to say. You wouldn't believe it. The officer, one of the officers had gone back to headquarters. Another officer took his place, and he was a lieutenant.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with the other man going away, he'd been made up to captain.
Yeah.
Instead of Mr. Barrel, you know, here.
Mm-hmm.
And he said something, and I made a joke about it, because he took one of my bloody blokes. I had myself, Jack Clark, my
Yeah.
number 2,
Yeah.
from Walker Mart,
Mm-hmm.
and 3 riflemen. And we would got to concentrate our fire over this canal, looking that way. One by one, those men were taken away from me.
Right.
And Jack Clark said, "Is any me you, Tex?" I said, "What the hell's he on about? What's this bloody..." Anyway, this officer, another officer, and I tell you, you know him. He was the last man to come to our position outside a great big barn.
Oh yeah, you were saying yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Jackson, I said, "Sir, Lieutenant Smith from Tatum Merchant.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
And he said, I'm having to take Clark away. He said, we want the rifleman. Now, look. He said, how much ammunition have you got? I said, I've only got a magazine and a half. Well, he said, he'll have to make do. In the meantime, he said, you won't be like, we're going round to encircle him. The fact is, and I wouldn't want you to put this down.
Don't worry, I won't edit it.
This bloke, Smith,
Yeah.
you know, he said, well, I said, well, what about the ammunition, sir? He said, that's all we've got, Jackson. He said, we've only been able to give the rifleman 5 rounds. 5 bloody rounds.
Yeah.
You'll find someone like me who'll tell you the same bloody story.
Yeah.
But anyway, I said, he says, anything you'd like, Jackson? Yes, sir. I said, I wasn't being funny either. I'd started smoking.
Right.
He said, I said, if you've got a couple of cigarettes, sir, please. You know, because he looked at me as I was a bloody young face, you know. He said, do you smoke then? Oh, yes, I've started since I joined the army, sir.
I'm surprised.
True. So, it brings out, I've never smoked, Goldflake.
Yeah.
And they're very posh cigarettes, aren't they?
Yeah.
Or were.
Yeah.
And they said, well, have these, boy. I said, well, thank you very much.
There's a parting gesture.
Right. Now he said, we're off now. Now keep your eyes peeled, you know, to the left of that pillar. There's a big pillar, you know.
Yeah.
And then there's the rivers around there, you know.
Yeah. And you were laid under some sort of zinc sheeting, weren't you, did you say?
Eh?
You was laid under some sort of corrugated zinc sheeting?
I was, yeah.
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 Yeah, I remember you telling me.
I did, I did, yeah. And then the next fucking thing I know, about 2 hours later, I thought, fucking hell, you know, there's no fuck around here at all. 2 hours is a long time to be laying there like a brat.
Yeah.
Only time I got up was to have a wee.
Yeah.
And the barn, you know, it was a huge barn. And what had they left? All these lads who'd been trying to get, who eventually got them out that doing, cellar.
Yeah.
They'd taken 3 lovely Macintoshes right round to the ankle.
Right.
The
German
5th
ones.
columnists, that's what they call them, 5th
yeah,
columnists.
Yeah.
And it was this bloke that found him, come out with his, waving his bloody gun, and you know.
Yeah.
Fortunately for me, the sergeant, you know, he had one of these big, what they call
Gorgets.
Eh?
A gorget.
Yeah, you know, right round there.
Yeah.
He got his number on,
Yeah.
and I couldn't understand a bloody word he was saying. He was talking German.
Oh, we've jumped a bit there, haven't we? Because how did you come to suddenly find yourself being surrounded by Germans? And what had they done?
Well, no, look. I'll tell you what. You can imagine.
Yeah.
Say, Pace's house there.
Yeah.
Now I was looking over to the northeast,
Yeah.
where I was told that's where they'd come. Now then, I thought, I could do with a bit, and I was just about to get up, bang, and something exploded because I was laying flat,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and there was a hedge there, and with zinc in it, keep the sheep in, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it must have clipped the doings, and plum, didn't bother really looking.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Knocked you unconscious.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
And it knocked me about, what? I'm not exaggerating, it knocked me about 8 feet to the wall.
Did it really?
Yeah. Well, I think what it was, me getting up
Yeah.
and on propulsion,
Yeah.
shall we say,
Yeah.
and the shrapnel went past my look, except one bit who decided to have a bit on the way out.
They had their eye on you, didn't they?
Hey?
They had their eye on you. They
Yeah,
saw
yeah.
you. Yeah.
They did.
Yeah. And you come around and suddenly you're surrounded by Germans.
Yeah.
And
7 of them. But this corporal, he was, I didn't know what they called a bloke once, they were, but Ulster office, yeah.
Right.
He's a bloody corporal.
Uh-huh.
And he got this sergeant, who spoke very, very good English. He said, "Where are the men that you captured?"
Yeah.
You said.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because they'd found the coats and
Yeah,
that.
in case we shot, we'd shot them.
Yeah, yeah.
And I said, they were taken through 2 to 1. Oh, your headquarters. No, I didn't know we had headquarters at the one, but they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had to lay against that bloody wall till dark, till about 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
And eventually brought 6 or 7 more squaddies in,
Right.
not Lincolns, none of the Lincoln, none of the infantry. They were bloody hack men.
So you never saw any more of the A company that you was originally out with?
Not
Yeah.
one.
Not one of them.
Not
Because I
all
know
of them.
that obviously Oggy got back to Dunkirk, didn't he?
He did, a lot of them did.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So and that was it. That was game over for you then.
yeah. They, you see, what they did, they were, if they were going to surround them, they went the wrong way. You come that way, you go. But they would go southwest,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they did. And Stan Wilson told me, he said, "But we've got home text."
Yeah.
He said, "That one bloke got very upset about you, you know."
Yeah.
I said, "Well, why?" He said, "Sometimes they leave his man there." But I mean, what does he know about it? There's always somebody.
That's right. So that sort of concludes this first video then. So we sort of know how you joined up and when,
Yeah,
and obviously up to the point now where you're captured by the Germans, and then I think in the next video if we talk about the march getting to your POW camp, we'll have a chat
well, I'll
about
tell
that
you what,
later. actually.
no, if you're going to stop it, I'll just tell you
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
Instead of taking us or marching us in a straight line into Germany, which you're not far away from,
yeah,
the bastards took us all the way south.
right,
And if you have a look on a map,
right,
look at this bloody place.
yeah.
Yeah. And I'll tell you,
But you wouldn't have had no idea where you were going
No.
at that time, would you? Just be going
I mean,
over the time.
the march into captivity,
Mm.
we were a little bit better fed because we'd still got some of our own food in.
Yeah,
But we got next to nothing on there.
right.
The one coming out, now this is nothing to do with this
No,
video.
I'll tell you what I'll do. We'll stop it here now,
Right,
and then we'll pick up next time when we talk about
yeah.
going from France or Lille or Merville, where you were captured at
Merville,
Merville,
yeah.
and we'll talk about in the next video going to.
And I'll tell you where we
London.
went now. You know where I'm going to talk as well now. The big forest, what do they call it?
Oh, the Black Forest, is it?
Eh?
Not the Black Forest, is it?
No, it's in France.
Oh, in France.
Yeah. Oh, you know, you must forgive me, I can't remember.
Right.
Off.
Oh, you mean the Ardennes?
Yes,
The Ardennes.
through the
sorry.
Ardennes.
Yes, of course.
All the way around the Ardennes.
Yeah.
Some of the Germans were bastards because the people, bless them, put buckets of water out so that we could have a drink.
Right.
And the bastards used to go and kick them over.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Right. Well, we'll have a chat about that in the
Yeah.
next video. Thank you,
And,
Stan.
and now, just to laugh,
Yeah.
you know, for
Yeah.
your
For
video. I got on this, cattle trucks here.
Yeah.
8 homes,
48.
eight horses and 40 men.
Yeah.
Well, you fucking there, and someone got dysentery, they'd come all through that shit, through that
Yeah.
forest, through the Ardennes.
Yeah.
You never saw anything so fucking shit all over the place. Inside the fucking
Yeah, I
truck.
can
They were
imagine.
cattle trucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I didn't know what 80 homes were, but I found out.
Yeah.
I mean, 8 homes.
Yeah. Right, we'll stop it there then, Stan. Thank
Yeah.
you very much, and we'll come back with part 2
Yeah.
at another date. Thank you very much.